Property Patriot, you are cleared hot.
Today on the Aim High podcast, we're joined by Prefontaine. Chris has been in the real estate industry for 32 years. He started in 1991. He's innovated spot building, transforming empty lots into homes. His expertise saw him opening a realty executives franchise, which he later sold to Coldwell Banker. Although he faced challenges during market turndowns, he's emerged resilient. Today, he's a leading figure in creative financing, passionately mentoring a new generation of real estate enthusiasts across the United States and Canada. Join us today to uncover his profound insights, where we provide real estate investors the tools to achieve generational wealth. This is the Aim High Podcast, show number 51. Good day, high flyers, and welcome to the Aim High Podcast. Today, I am joined by Chris Prefontaine. How are you today, Chris?
I am awesome, bud. Thank you, and thanks for having me.
Oh, it is an absolute pleasure. Chris, thank you very much for coming on. I got to say, it's a real pleasure having you on. Author, extended period of time in real estate. You are all over the place. Could you do me a favor, please, and give me a quick introduction?
Yeah, so I'll do it brief because it's 32 years and I don't put everybody to sleep. Yeah, I started real estate in 91, built some homes. We called it spot building at the time. We would actually put the home up on someone's lot, and the vendors in the lot owner would all wait till I was closed in 90, 120 days. I think back in my 20s that I was so naive to actually ask people to do that, but it worked. We did about 100 homes. I then had a realty executives franchise. So I had my broker hat on, had never done that. I sold that to Coldwell Banker in 2000. That was a good experience. From 2000 to the crash all the way to 2008, I was working on my own deals and coaching at the time, not investors, realtors in US and Canada. They were all like $1 million and $2 million producers and up, but their lives were a mess. I just didn't know how to put it all together. And then after the crash, I got annihilated in the crash. I had all properties that I had going on, projects, and I was on all the loans personally, so that was a headache. But there's nothing you could have said to tell me that was going to be good. But that's what caused us to be where we are today. And we would be the family company, myself, my son, Nick, my son-in-law, Zach, my daughter, Caleb, my wife, Kim, they're always involved in some shape, form, or fashion. And we buy real estate in New England. We do that without banks. We do it with little to no money. We do everything on terms, which is creative financing, basically. We could talk about that, but that's what we do now. And then we teach that all around the country, mostly United States, but teeny bit Canada, to investors, people leaving corporate America, people that are in other niches, or people that have tried a bunch of stuff and it didn't work. They all kind of flock to the community. So that was 31 and a half years, if that's good. We can go back to any part of that if you want.
Yeah, in like 30 seconds, right? So now you've been doing this for a while, but what got you into it?
My father had a welding business in New England, welding, supply, and industrial gas, but he would build his own brick and mortar buildings and he would lease them back to himself. And now as a kid, I remember to this day asking him, what do you mean? It's you on your company? He didn't understand LLCs and all that. So he always built his own buildings and leased them back at a hefty rent rate to himself. I was around that. And then he'd tinker with land and tinker with other things. And so the people he was around also tinkered real estate. I just got the itch, like early got the itch. I went to college, but wanted nothing to do with it. I just wanted to get out, get started on deals, you know?
Yeah. Now, what was your first deal? It's been a while, but how'd you actually run that?
I remember it. It was a cool deal. It was it was a house with extra land on a golf course in Massachusetts. We subdivided the land and then we built on the extra lot a duplex, but you can condoize it there they call it zero lot line. So we built a duplex, sold 2 condos, kept the house for a few more years and then sold that. But it was a cool deal. I liked doing, especially back then, land of some sort where you can improve the value by subdividing or whatnot.
How did that come about? Did you find it? How'd you find it? How'd you source it?
I'm trying to think on that one. Now it's more predictable, like with the metrics, we know who to call and how to get, but back then, I think my partner might have I had a partner back then I met through my father's company. And he and I were a lot younger, obviously. He was closer to my age. At the time, we were in our 20s. And he found it somehow. I don't know if it was on the open market and then fell off, but we found it because of the extra land. We always look for extra land like that.
I got to ask you, back then, it wasn't like it is today. You can't just go out there and just do a prop stream search or something like that. How were you working back then? Just newspapers, periodicals? How was that working?
Man, no one's brought this up in a while now that you say that. I remember literally getting the folder and then you print out the MapQuest. Put it on top of the folder. I have an executive assistant that would print it out and highlight my route. That's how archaic it was. Now that you say that, man, oh man, that's how we operated. And then as far as data, yes, absolutely newspaper, sale by owners.
I love hearing about the differences between back then and now, because it really gives people that are listening or watching or clients or students or just people that we run into in the AIM High REI, they don't realize how good they actually have it now. And they're complaining about having to go out and pound the ground and knock on doors. But I love hearing it the old school way.
Yeah. Night and day. I don't want to say this, people are spoiled now, but I look at our students. I mean, they got a database that spits and leads, expired, FISBO, for it. Then they have a virtual assistant that calls it. Then they plug it in the net. It's just like, I don't want to say easy. I won't say easy, but it's simple.
Occasionally you'll get the person who complains about the fact that it's so difficult they can't find a deal.
I think it's nuts, but that's what that's what they knew, right? So
right, exactly. In this period of time, in your entire spans, there's got to be the one deal that really kind of you go back and you think, man, I never want to deal with that again.
Oh, bad deal?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch. Too many. That could be a whole show. But I'll give you one that's a little offbeat. We did a bunch of buildings by Holy Cross College one year, one 5-year period. Myself and a plumber friend of mine, very good friend. So he ran the field, I ran the office, so to speak, and we would rent to Holy Cross kids. The college market's a whole market in itself, as you probably know. You get a lot more money than you would regular rent, double, triple, sometimes quadruple. So we had about 11 buildings at one time up there going on. We did really well with that little model. But one night I got a call at 2 a.m. I was sleeping at my in-laws because I was building a house. So I was literally in an in-law apartment. And he said, listen, Chris, he's the plumber. He said, the basement is full of poop, 2 feet worth. And if I call the city, they're going to condemn the house. And so you got to go over with me and we got to get that out of there. So I won't get into the details, but we stayed there the better part of the night and got that out of there. And then it happened again to the same house. So this house, what ended up happening was roots got in there and he didn't know because when he snaked it, didn't show up, but roots get in the pipes and it was a nightmare. So it's not that the deal itself, because that was part of a portfolio, but that house was a nightmare.
Welcome to the Northeast, right? People who live in like the Southwest will never understand what it's like to run into an iron sewer pipe with a terracotta fitting at the end, and then you get the frost line and all of a sudden those things, or you get a penetration by some tree or something. Then the next thing you know, your life is a nightmare. $6,000 to $10,000 later, you're gone. Where did my money?
Yeah. So, that nightmare and the crash is why I do what I do now, but you asked for a bad one. So
that'll do it. Sewage is the worst thing in the world, man.
Nasty.
It's absolutely disgusting. You've done a lot. You're very successful. What are you working on right now?
We are the Wicked Smart community is unique coaching community because we do deals with them. So unlike what I grew up with coaches, whether it be investors or realtors, when I was a realtor, they would teach well. I mean, I had good mentors, but they never went out and did it with me. So, you go to a seminar and you go out and you go, oh, no, all this happens. And, you get frustrated, slows you down. Some people quit. We do deals with people. So our purpose in the company, and it has been since 17, is to help individuals and families create the life of their dreams. And it happens to be with real estate, but there's so much other stuff that goes into that, right? Like how do I become an owner of a business? How do I mindset piece that all hits us all those things. So we're constantly trying to improve that. We're trying right now to improve our metrics of time to first deal. We've got it down to 158 days. That might seem like a long time, but that factors in someone doing a deal for 30 days and somebody taking a whole year because they were part-time or whatever. They fell off the wagon. So we honestly factor all that, no outliers. And the actual average right now is like 158 days. It's not too bad because the size of our deals are pretty big. So we're always trying to fine tune that in the Wicked Smart community.
In doing that, are you JVing with the guys? Do they got to bring something to the table? Do they got to be part of your network? How does that all work?
Good question. They got to be part of the network. So we have what we call associate levels. There's 3 or 4 different levels, and that will be based upon, are they full-time? Do they want to be full-time? It depends on their resources, depends on how fast they want to go, right? So depending on that, they'll pick a level or we'll help them pick a level that fits them best. We take X amount of people in between each event because they only can work with so many at that intensity because we're doing deals. So they'll pay for coaching up front and then they'll do a rev share with us. They're their deals though. So if they buy them, in other words, they depreciate it. Like all the benefits go to them accounting wise. We just are a consultant in the deal and that's how we get paid, but it's in their LLC and it's their deal.
Oh, that's excellent. You're working on this process. You've got your mentorship program. You guys are growing by leaps and bounds. So what's next?
Every trimester we meet, not quarter. So every trimester we'll come out of there with priorities, right? Like the Rockefeller habits kind of way of building the business. And so I don't know what's next as far as that next short term, right? The next priorities, but I can tell you that we'll continue to scale, and we'll continue to up level the coaches and up level the metrics as we go. Our mission and our purpose have been set, right? So we just keep every trimester clawing forward and set new priorities to get there. That's all.
Oh, that's fantastic, man. And I wish you a lot of luck with the growth. Because you've been doing this for a long time, I know it's a family business, so you guys are all growing together. What is one thing that you learned as your wealth increased?
It's a good lesson because it was spawned out of the '08 crash. And that is, as your wealth increases, don't let your personal overhead and your expenses trail right behind it. Don't. Set that up ahead of time, understand where you're going with that, with spouse, significant other, family, whatever, and control that so that when you do create wealth, you have the bandwidth to make better decisions because you don't have anything chasing behind that by way of overhead. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Man, you're just flying through this interview. I really do appreciate it. I know you've got a wealth of information, right? I know. It's the Northeast way, right? It's just get it done, keep on moving. But we're going to go into the soaring four. These are the same four questions that I ask every guest that can help someone who's just starting out achieve new heights. What do you use to keep you motivated?
A couple things come to mind real quick. Exposure, meaning to people. So I'm careful who I hang out with, and I'm careful who I allow to mentor me. I had a mentoring session today with one of my coaches for an hour. So one of them is exposure. And the other one is routines. I know it's not for everyone, but I'll tell you that most successful people that I interview on my show, they have some kind of routine. It doesn't have to be morning or night or whatever, but for me, it's morning. And that would be a workout or a yoga, first thing, followed by a really quick meditation. When I say meditation, I'm not talking about sitting in a room for 30 minutes. That's not me. I go nuts. I'm talking like a 2 or 3 minute reset. My coach gave me a simple one to do. And then I look at my needle movers for the week and just see where I am. I keep like 6 or so needle movers for the week. Anything more than that, it's not going to work. That's kind of my routine to kick the day off and set it up right.
And a fantastic one, by the way.
Love it.
What is one thing that you learned that completely changed your mindset?
I'm going to go 2 things on this again. Sorry, you asked me for one, but one is mindset wise, specifically, and one is something to change your mindset. So mindset wise, it's so important to understand that 95% of what we do is the mindset piece. So the biggest thing that I would do in there is making sure I'm working on that daily. It's like a muscle. Super important. We do that. And I think it was the question was, what one thing would change my mindset? The crash did, because before the crash, like so many investors and probably your listeners many of them is buy conventional bank rates, or investor money, raise. That's pretty conventional. I had been in 18 years before the crash and thought that's what you do. But that's also what kept me up at night and would today for sure if I was signing personally on all these loans. So it changed my mindset entirely about how you can do real estate. And it was because I didn't have a choice. I came out of that crash with my credit in the toilet. I had no money. Like literally, it's not paper loss. I lost everything. Went from a 2.5 acre overlooking Newport Harbor worth several million to a 900 square foot apartment, my wife, Kim, and I. So that changes your mindset real fast, and it's humbling. And so the crash did it. And then the understanding of how important mindset is changes your mindset constantly if you do it right.
That's a great point. What tools do you use to keep you on track currently?
To me, because I'm not big on software and all the gadgets, to me, a simple, from a technology standpoint or organization standpoint, if it's in my calendar, that's what I do. In other words, there's no 17 to-do lists. I have the needle movers for the week. They get built into the calendar. So if it's in my calendar, I do it. It's not likely not going to get done. So that's just a daily hack. And then secondly, I'm going to combine a few of these other answers. The morning mindset, the morning routine, as well as exposure to people at what times of the day are super important efficiency hacks. Talking to my coach from 2 to 3 today, a few hours ago, was a very cool way to end an afternoon versus getting into a negative problem or a challenge, because we all have them in real estate. So it's very pointedly getting in front of certain things at certain times of the day. That makes sense?
Yeah. I've got to ask you a little bit more. Do you track like what are your most productive hours during the day as well?
I know what they are now. Yeah, it's the morning for me. Yeah. If you try to give me something like, after 2 or 3 o'clock that needs brain power, it's probably not going to be too productive. But morning, I'm up at usually 4 to 5. It's my time. If my wife gets up, she'll be like, I don't want to interrupt it, because she knows I set up my whole day with that. And if it gets interrupted, I'm a bit of a mess.
What is one thing that you would change if you had to start all over?
Oh, yeah, this is a simple but effective one. If you put me in any market, put me in Jersey, put me anywhere, what I would do first, not 2 or 3 months or a year later, is get a high quality executive assistant. Since COVID, they do not have to be with you, although I always liked it in the past. Now I know I'm attracting way better talent because they don't need that anymore. They can be elsewhere. I don't mean a VA. There's a big difference. A $5 to $15 an hour VA is not an executive assistant. They'll come later because you're so efficient and productive and profitable with an EA that you'll need the VAs to fill in and help you do the work. So an EA, why? Because if you're in real estate, there's like 2, 3, 4 things you should be doing. When you're brand new, there's like 2. Finally, talk to seller. So if you're doing anything else, you are a glorified assistant yourself. So you need to find either a partner or resources or a credit card, doesn't matter what, and get an executive assistant and survive for the first 3, 4, 5 months. And then the rest is history because you'll be productive. I think the only thing that stops people, Bud, from doing that is their belief in themselves. Because think about this. If I said to you, hey, Bud, here's the system, it works. You go work it and don't give up and put the blinders on for 3 years. But you go get an EA so you can go get on the phone. I'll show you what to say, what to do, how to get deals. If you knew you couldn't lose, you do it. You go, okay, cool. But the problem is we don't have the belief in ourselves. So we go, well, yeah, but I got to try it. Oh, yeah, I got to do a deal for us. So yeah, I got to dip my toe in. And I promise you in real estate, if you are trying it, you're not going to make it. You might survive, but you're not going to go out and break records and have the life of your dreams. You're going to have a job. So I know that was rather blunt, but that's a fact, unless you're willing to go after it and commit.
It's something I firmly agree with. 20% of the stuff that we do creates 80% of our total revenue. And if we're doing the 80%, the minutia, then we're just wasting our own time and not concentrating on the big things that we really need to get things done. So
spot on.
I totally buy into that too, by the way. I do have an executive assistant myself and he keeps me on track. And no kidding, emails, and then we have automation set up and things like that.
Yeah, worth the wait. And the great, we've had EAs, I think 3 now out of a 21 person team. We've had 3 EAs go to executive positions like that. Great people.
Chris, I got to ask you a question, man. I understand that you are going to be giving something away. What is the deal?
Yeah, I want to give a book. So I have too many times been on my phone or been online and they go free book and you go and at the very end, they go put your credit card in for shipping. It gets so annoying. So we give a free book. Out of this very office, we will ship out the Amazon bestseller, Real Estate on Your Terms. It's the physical hard copy, hardcover book. And there might be some other goodies in it. You got a package a little different, but that included that book in it. And it's free, totally free. Just put your name and address in. We'll get it out to you, get your email in there. We'll keep you in the loop here and let you know what other free stuff we have coming up.
Okay. And that's at smartrealestatecoach.com?
WickedSmartBooks.com, actually. WickedSmartBooks with an S.com/aim high. So we know it came from your
R in that, right? There is an R in this smart.
Yeah, it's hidden.
That's great. I love the accent, man. It's fantastic. That Northeast accent gets me. Chris, if somebody wanted to reach out to you, what would be the best way that they could do that?
Besides that book, because I'll get you info that way. If you don't mind the New England accent for another hour, go watch my master's class because it's free and nobody's bugging you. You're on your own watching my recording. Just go to smartrealestatecoach.com/masters class. If you want to go ahead and chat live or you think you're highly committed and serious about doing something in real estate, just email me, Chris, CHRIS at smartrealestatecoach.com. I'm putting that out there. And my team does not love me when I do it, but if you're serious and committed, write down in the subject line, let's talk.
Thank you very much, Chris. I cannot wait to have your son on here and get an alternate point of view of exactly what you guys are doing. So thank you very much.
You having my son? No, son-in-law.
Nick, he's,
Nick's my son. Yeah. Good.
We haven't nailed a date down, but he will definitely be on.
You'll get, let me say this to you for your show. So Nick will come at it with a different story. He grew up in real estate. Totally different story. He was in a coma from a snowboard accident in 2003. He wasn't expected to walk, talk, or eat. And then you got my son-in-law, Zach, who was a bartender. No hanging out in real estate like my son, but now does all the deals and coaching too. He's my partner. So you'll get totally different perspectives from these two.
Chris, again, thank you very much. I cannot thank you enough.
I appreciate you having me on. I love the show and best of luck with everything.
Thank you very much. Thanks for being a part of the Aim High community. Your support drives us to create valuable content, and we can't wait to see your success stories in real estate investing. Till next time, aim high, never stop learning. Bud Evans, signing off. We'll see you soon.